make sure that that plan, the development of the J.T. Berry are done in a way that doesn't create more conflict, that we provide facts to the community so that they can make informed decisions, and that we not put personal opinion out there as we address those issues. And that's one of the critical components. There's a big difference. Leadership is about providing a vision, providing a plan, providing a sense of continuity. It is not about personal opinion. When one wants to provide leadership, you have to step away from the personal opinion sometimes and take a road you may not necessarily agree with, but which is in the common good of all. And you need to make sure that you remain and stay objective, and that you don't create conflict by creating facts that don't support the direction that's being taken.
Thank you. Amy.
What do you feel is the root cause of the tight school operating budget? And what long-term fiscal solutions would you look to in order to allow North Reading schools to continue to provide the excellent education that they currently do?
I'm not sure I can identify exactly the tightness of the school budget. I'm not intimately familiar with all of the line items in that budget, nor would I see it as my role to get involved with all the line items of that budget. I think that predominantly what's causing that is that the growth in the community has caused the school population to increase. It's also caused us to have more roads to plow, more trash pickup, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that the limits of Prop 2.5 cause all communities to become constrained in times of growth. And I think that North Reading has reached that point where the growth has been able to sustain us, but at this time, as the growth slows, then you have to have that, you've got that that level of services and programs that you've built into the budget, and now you have to maintain them, but you can only grow revenue at 2.5%. And it doesn't take much to figure out that if your revenue is only going to grow at 2.5% a year, and your expenses are likely to grow much greater than 2.5% a year. There's health care, and other costs that will increase much more than that. I think that the school budget will probably continue to remain tight, and I think that we need to weigh that with the town side, and I think that the Board of Selectmen needs to work closely with the school committee to develop an operating plan going forward so that we know where we stand, and if we do need an override, we know what kind of override we need, and we know whether that override is a permanent override or a temporary override. I think if you look at what's happened in Reading, they went for an override of 2.3 last year, I believe the number was, or something close to that, and this year it was about 1.2. Both of those overrides failed. Unfortunately, Reading schools are going to have to make some serious cuts in order to live within their operating budget. I think it's important to have a plan and to know what those revenue constraints are going to be as we move forward. And I think I missed the second part of the question.
The question was, what would you look to in order for North Reading schools to continue to provide the excellent education that they do?
I would look to the school committee. That's their role, that's their charge. It's not for the Board of Selectmen to try to run the school committee. It's for the Board of Selectmen to provide the vision and the leadership for the town, and to provide all the committees with the information and the facts so that they can carry forth their duties, whether we're talking about the school committee or the Community Planning Commission. And so that to step in to those individual committees, boards, or departments and try to micromanage them is not what leadership is about. Leadership is about providing a plan, a roadmap, a blueprint, a vision, so that people can move forward.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Charles Carucci, 3 Chester Road. Kind of here on a couple of things. One of them being is, do you think it would be possible for you to work with the community? And the reason I bring that out is, the last town meeting, you saw there was such a split that you saw probably 60 or 70 people walk out before the town meeting was finished. Do you think you'll be able to work with it?
I hope to. In my career at work, I run the operations group. The operations group is really the back room of the organization. I've chaired various task forces and committees. And one of the things I have to do in my work is that everything that my department does is originated somewhere else within the organization. So I've got to bring together all those constituencies and get them to balance their needs, wants, and desires with the organization's ability to deliver the product or service to the customer. And I think that that translates well into what we need to do here, which is balance all of the needs, wants, and desires of the various groups in town to move us forward. Not in a divisive way, but in an informative way, and to bring forth all of the facts objectively, and to get people to hopefully come together for the common good. And again, I think a big component of that is, and it's not so much communicating at them, but listening to them, making sure that the meetings and the structure of the leadership of the community is such that there is open dialogue amongst all boards, all committees, and most importantly, all residents. You cannot have residents who feel they cannot be heard. You cannot have boards or committees, and we saw that at town meeting as well. You cannot have boards or committees that are trying to go in a different direction as well. You need to spend the time to communicate effectively and to work with those groups to come to a consensus of the direction to take. I believe I have the skills and experience to do that. That's what I do every day at work, because the marketing folks want to sell a product that we can't deliver out of the back room, and they want to put the product out in 2 weeks' time, and you've got folks up in the systems group that have their own projects and agendas, and bringing all of those parties together and making those products go out the door. And that's the same as, I think that can translate into what we need to do here in the community, which is communicate, bring all the parties together, understand the needs and wants, and move things forward expeditiously.
Mr. Carucci, you had another?
As having a business on Route 28 and also living on Route 28, Route 28 needs some help as far as cleanup, because the first thing people see when they come into town is Route 28. Do you think you could support some type of initiative to help clean up a little bit more Route 28 without rocking the boat? It's important, because that's the first thing people see when they come into North Reading or driving through North Reading. Route 28 is a business district.
I know that currently there's a planning team here in town. I would see that potentially as something that the planning team would need to address, or the C.A.C. And I would certainly support and work closely with C.A.C. or the planning team or another group to enhance how our community appears to others. I agree with you. I think it's important. I think when you go down 28, you get a different feel as you go through all of the communities that are along Route 28. Actually, when I was in Stoneham, when you went down 28 in Stoneham, it didn't have much appeal. Just as I was leaving the town common, which I supported in Stoneham, was moving forward. It failed the first time, but anybody who's been down 28 through Stoneham now knows that the town common finally passed, and it is exquisite. It has made a huge difference in the center of Stoneham, and I think that, not that that's the same here, because we certainly don't need a town common on Route 28, but I think that we can work with the various groups and constituencies to create a view of the community that's positive to all who travel through and to all who live here.
Final. I am involved in the John T. Berry. I notice everybody, I've looked at the printouts here, and everybody's got the John T. Berry down as part of their spiel. Which is fine. The John T. Berry is going to generate quite a bit of tax money. But it's going to be time, I think, and everybody that has submitted a plan for 1 to 5 to 6 years before build-out is done out there. So it's going to be a while before taxes are generated. The only thing I ask is, at the end of this interview process for the John T. Berry, that the gentlemen who are running for office, if they don't get elected, or if they get elected, at the last meeting, we will be taking input from the public and anybody who's interested. And I'm just hoping that, everybody shows up at that last meeting, just to, give their little spiel or see how they're interested. The date is in May. It's after the election. I don't know what date it is. It's posted in the paper.
As soon as you know, if you let us know, we'll.
But I'm just hoping the candidates who, are running and they have a big interest in the town will come. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And just to follow up on Mr. Carucci's comment, it is true that all the candidates have put the J.T. Berry property as some form of a solution for revenue, and that is a long-term plan, which is something that we need to be doing. All right, I want to thank the audience for their questions. I'm going to have to close it off and give Mr. Murphy his 5-minute close.
I want to thank again the C.A.C. For putting this forum together. I think it's important to communicate out to the community the viewpoints of the various candidates for the Board of Selectmen. As I stated earlier, I believe that the community faces many issues which need to be addressed. We have had a lot of divisiveness, conflict, and a lot of misrepresentation of fact on many of the key issues that the community faces. The police station issue was an issue when I first moved here. It's still an issue today. Swan Pond, i.e. the Batchelder, is still an issue. These issues will not go away. They will continue to grow in cost. We cannot delay addressing these issues. As an example, the school at Swan Pond, by not taking action earlier than May, the school at Swan Pond, should it pass on the May 8th ballot, will cost $1.2 million more in principal, that's exclusive of interest, by merely delaying that vote until May 8th, as opposed to a vote that could have taken place earlier this spring, which would have allowed the community to avail itself of 64% reimbursement versus the 52 to 54 we may achieve. So I think that the community needs to have leadership that's willing to listen, that's open to listening, that's also open to communicating back to the community in an objective manner the facts of each of the individual situations, so that the community can make clear and informed decisions about what direction they need to take. I think that C.A.C is to be commended as a new group in the community recently formed. I'm very excited about what they've done, and I look forward to hearing from them and seeing them in the years ahead. I think to Mr. Carucci's comment, he hopes that the candidates will continue to be involved in the J.T. Berry, win or lose. I can assure you, Mr. Carucci, I will. I have been active in the community since I came here. I will continue to be active in the community.